Hi, Zizaran here with another manifesto video. This is part 3 and it's going to be the raw reading. We will be making a short edited version as well, and this is the 3.16 balance part 3, auras, curses, and elemental damage over time. And yeah, we will have a short edited version. So if you don't want the long raw unedited one, this is not for you. And I've mostly avoided spoilers except for something about Ignite. In our upcoming 3.16 expansion, we're making a number of balance changes, and over the last 2 days, we talked about our plans for fast ailment mitigation and core character defense and recovery. And we strongly recommend reading these posts prior to this one. Today's post covers our plans for auras, curses, and elemental damage over time. And we've assembled this article as a set of identified problems and our intended solutions. Below each solution is a spoiler tag with the specific of what we're currently intending to change. And please note that as we're still a couple of weeks out from release, anything here is subject to change based on our further testing and your feedback. And I really like the new format of problem and solution. It's a really good thing they're doing. Problem. The reduced restoration stat provides very little benefit at low values, but becomes very powerful when heavily invested in. This allows players to run every aura in the game. It also forces reduced restoration to be balanced around extreme levels of investment, limiting how useful it can be to characters that do not run enormous amounts of the restoration skills. Oh, I know what they're doing. Finally, characters that are heavily invested in reduced restoration in order to run more skills on mana were able to restore life extremely efficiently with no further investment, rendering this the only sensible way to play the most heavily restoration-focused builds. Solution. Replace reduced restoration with restoration efficiency. When stacked, reduced restoration efficiency does not allow for infinite auras, and this can be given out more liberally as a result, letting characters run additional restoration effects with only a couple of sources of restoration efficiency. The average character benefits, but the top end extreme restoration has been made significantly weaker. Ah, shit. Cool. Ah, shit. That's great. That's spicy. That's spicy. Modifiers to restoration has been replaced with restoration efficiency, and it works by dividing the cost of the restoration effect. 100% reduced restoration with half the cost of all auras. 50% cuts down enough to let you reserve an additional. Yeah, but we don't know how easy we get it yet, so I guess that doesn't mean much yet. 50% restoration efficiency cuts down cost enough to let you reserve one additional 50% restoration aura. Okay. But is it 12? Passives and item modifiers with reduced restoration has been replaced with increased mana restoration efficiency, generally at double the value of the oh no, not more than that. But sometimes with different values for the balance reasons. So wait, would the Conqueror's efficiency be 6% then? That means that a small amount of restoration investment is more impactful than before, while high investments doesn't allow as many auras to be used. The vast majority of restoration efficiency is now offered in a mana-specific order to prevent reserving both life and mana. Generic restoration are still available in some items. If not mentioned below, all sources that have previously provided reduced restoration, including for specific skills or types, now provide increased mana restoration efficiency at twice the value. Modifiers on existing are affected by these changes. Notable passive skills granted by cluster jewels that previously granted restoration now grant 60% for the ones that have 50% base restoration and 100% for ones that have 35. Okay. Interesting. The Hierophant Sanctuary, thought of notable, now provides 25% mana restoration instead of 10%. Helmet enchantments, that we like specific ones being changed. And oh, yeah, twice the previous restoration value. Enchantments for skills that have 50% now around 20 to 30 for Merciless and Eternal, and enchants that have 35 now around 30 to 45. Skills that have 25 or flat restoration are 50 to 75. Okay. The corrupted implicit modifier in jewels that previously reduced 1% reduced restoration now provides 2% and not specific to mana. Skyforth has 12 not specific to mana instead of 6. High Risk Truth 100%. Precision has 100% increased mana restoration efficiency instead of precision is 50% less. Dude, oh my god, like just sitting here reading this, like the owl amulet, I wonder if they're gonna change it or if it's just gonna be like ultra pog slide now. And same with Essence Worm or whatever the ring is called. Interesting. Wow. Replica Higher's Truth as a hatred has 100% increased mana reservation. Instead of hatred is 50% less reservation. Essence Worm grants... Oh, wow. Essence Worm grants 80% reduced reservation efficiency, not specific to mana, instead of 40% increased reservation. Okay. Interesting. Memory Vault now grants 20% reduced reservation efficiency instead of 10% increased reservation. Unique items that previously granted a skill 100% reduced reservation now cause that skill to have no reservation. Wow. Oh. I'm gonna need a lot of help with numbers. Math isn't my strong suit. It's gonna be a spicy league. Items that previously cost socketed gems to have a reduced reservation have been balanced separately to other reservation efficiency effects. They still provide generic reservation efficiency rather than mana reservation, but generally have values lower than double. Wait. Existing items will be updated to functionality and values stated below, but will still display old values unless updated with a divine orb. Right. The Shaper and Hunter influence shield modifiers that 10 to 15% socketed gems now is 15 to 20 reservation efficiency. Okay. This is a pretty great solution, I think. Like, this looks great so far. Like, I'm obviously very early in the document, but this looks great so far. Synthesized Implicit is 20 instead of 10. Prism Guardian has 30% reservation efficiency instead of socketed gems of 24. Ooh. That's very... Wait, Prism Guardian's dead, right? I mean, it's still blood magic, but... I mean... Prism Guardian looks kind of crangled now. Victoria's influence is 45% instead of 30. Wait, but these two should have been stronger. The varied item is 25% instead of 20. I'm surprised the unique items. Now they're alive also. Yeah, but still. Viv Insect now runs 20% reduced reservation efficiency instead of socketed gems of 10%. Heretic's Veil is 20 instead of 12, and Rot Blood has 80% reservation efficiency instead of 50. Whew! I'm surprised they went so hard on uniques with already all the other changes. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be that critical of it because it's hard without having all the, like, obviously I've just read this. I haven't been able to play around with the math and the numbers. So it might make sense, but like surface value, like the uniques seem to like a little extra shafted more than they maybe needed to, but it's hard without like looking at the numbers. So I don't really know how I feel, but like this is great. I'm very happy with this. Really, really great change. Really, really great change. Very, very pleased. Problem. Characters specialized in maximizing the power of auras provide an absolutely insane amount of damage and defense to party members, making a party with an aura specialized character so much more effective than one without. Yeah, I agree. Didn't you just fix that? Solution. Remove sources of aura effect from clusters and move the aura cluster jewels to small type clusters. So it's no longer possible to continuously stack aura effect for your party. Introduce a new cluster jewel. Did you just address this? Isn't this already fixed? Introduce a new cluster jewel notable to increase the effect of auras on you for builds that build auras for their own power. Oh no. Saki, you guys got... It's always the multi-pronged ones. Oh, how you doing, dude? It still had a leg left to cut. Yeah, no, like this seemed like it fixed the majority of the problems. Okay, right. Interesting choice. The aura cluster jewel type can now be found on small cluster jewels rather than mediums. That makes it more costly and less impactful to stack a large number of aura cluster jewels. And the small passives have 6% instead of aura effect. So reservation instead of aura effect. Aura bot's bad? Yeah. Cluster jewel notable passive skills have had their aura effect removed. This increased aura effect on you from the Purposeful Harbinger now only applies to your own aura effects on you. Oh no, I was gonna do that next badger privately. The Master of Command Cluster Jewel Notable now grants 10% effect of non-curse auras on skills of your enemies, previously 15. A new Cluster Jewel has been added with 10% increased effect of auras on you. Cluster Jewel Notable that grants reservation to specific auras now instead grants high amounts of reservation efficiency to that aura, as well as improving the secondary bonus the notable gave. An added Cluster Jewel Notable passives that grant high amounts of reservation efficiency to specific auras, as well as some other small bonus. For example, Zealotry is a 60% reservation efficiency and a 10% increased effect of consecrated ground. Jinx Juju is 5 to 10 increased effect of curses instead of 10 to 15, and 5 to 10% increased effect of non-cursed auras instead of 10 to 15. Do you know, honestly, I would love like a big poll for everyone reading this, how many actually understands everything. Like, I honestly feel like I'm in a very small percent that are like getting everything. I feel like most people are sitting there like, yeah, the fuck, especially this one. I feel like very many people are just like, I shoot things, I shooty shoots. I mean, honestly, I'm a little bit surprised at the double tap, but I mean, well, I'm not surprised. Surprised isn't the word, because obviously it's GGG, right? But I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I was like, this already is a good step. I don't know. Okay, before I continue, I wish GGG was a little bit more, let's change things over time slowly. I feel like they feel an insane pressure to fix things in one go. It's like me when like walking groceries home. It would probably be better if I did multiple trips. But I don't. And GGD doesn't. It would be better if but we wanted it all now. I want it all slowly over time. I've always wanted things slowly over time. Except for like gem balance, that they can rough it up every league. Anyway, we'll continue. Support characters, curses, problem. Characters specialized in maximizing the number of curses provide I mean, imagine if they didn't touch that. After the other stuff. Characters provided far too much damage and defense to party members, making a party with a curse specialized character so much more effective than one without. Sure, true. Solution: make curse clusters a small cluster jewel with many of the notables reworked to benefit specific curses significantly, greatly improving the regular character wanting to maximize their curses of choice and making significant changes to Dowdray skin as it applied many curses at almost no cost. Well, I mean, it's a pretty awful playstyle in my opinion. That is a big cost that should be considered. Like, literally, there would be a cold fucking day in hell before I would ever play that build. What an awful build to play, in my opinion. You should be rewarded for playing that. The Cursed Cluster Jewel can now be found on small cluster jewels rather than medium cluster jewels, and it makes it much more costly and less impactful than stacking large numbers of Cursed Cluster Jewels. To make these also, these are like, especially for most people, really good changes. To make these jewels more useful for characters using only 1 or 2 Cursed Jewels, we've greatly improved the Cursed Cluster Notables, granting benefit to specific curses as well as adding new ones. However, they can no longer be found on Cursed Jewels other than Cursed type ones. List of Cursed Jewels notables changed. Evil Eye, Whispers of Death, Dark Disclosure have been reworked as new curse-themed notables. In general, curse effect that applied all curses no longer exists on the notable passives for clusters. Lord of Drought, Blizzard Caller, Tempt the Storm, Misery Everlasting, and Exploit Weakness now all do 40% increased curse effect, previously 25. Forbidden Words no longer at 5% increased effect of bosses and instead does 20% increased restoration efficiency. Added new curse cluster jewels that benefited Doom, Marks, and Hexes that previously didn't have their own notables, such as Punishment, Elemental Weakness, Temptains, and Enfeeble. For example, 20% chance for Hexes to be applied at maximum Doom. I forgot about Doom. And hexes have 50% increased doom gain rate. Dodri's skin now grant hexes from socketed skills can apply 5 additional curses. It was previously ignored curse limit. This is so the replica Dodri's damage has some downside to use with using it. And now grants 20% less effect of your curses for all skills instead of the reduced curse effect of socketed skills triggered with the effigy skill. The summon Dodri effigy skill now has a short cast time. Oh wow. Now I see why you guys were like, you thought it was awful before? Oh no. Oh, you couldn't pay me to play support for someone. Oh my god. Yeah, Hex Blast might be insane this league. Its cooldown has been removed. Previously is 0.5 seconds and has a mana cost. I mean, Hex Blast could be an insane mana cost. But I think the problem with Hex Blast was always just how awful it felt to play, right? It was never a number problem. It's always been like insane damage. It was always just how bad it felt to play. There's never been a number issue. It's just mechanically awful. Whereas something like Spark or Winter Orb are mechanically superior to everything, right? There's just sometimes a number issue with those. It just feels awful to play, even if it looks great on paper. Existing items will be affected by the curse limit change, though they will only have 20% less curse effect. Some other uniques have been rebalanced. Replica Dodri's Damning now has 25% increased effect of curses instead of 35. And existing items can be upgraded. Wheel of the Storm Sail. Curse skills have increased duration. Jinx Juju. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I'll be making a TLDR after. Wow. This is, oof. There's so little text, but there's so much. There's so much. Wow. To be fair, no, Hex Blast might literally just fucking one-bot bosses. Wow. Elemental damage over time. The elemental damage over time. I still like... Just... I mean, honestly, like, the curse stuff is still mostly good. Especially for the way I play. On solo self-fun is really, really good. We're gonna have, like, much stronger curses now. Again, like, curses aren't that strong against bosses, too. But... yeah. Mostly really, really good. The aura stuff, again, I'm surprised they did both. Very surprised they did both. I think curse supports will still work fine. I just without looking at numbers or anything, I think curse supports will be the strongest support now. Okay, right. Elemental damage over time. Problem. The elemental damage over time affects cold damage over time. Burning and ignites are too dependent on elemental overload and elemental equilibrium. Ignites are too dependent on damage over time multiplier, making skills without ignite multiplier too weak. Solution. Greatly improve the base strength of ignite, burning, and cold damage while making elemental overload and elemental equilibrium less powerful or require more investment with damage over time skills. Rebound skills that could apply ignite effects. I mean, they're probably going to way over the top buff this, right? But this sounds really good. I mean, this is a problem. But I feel like they're going to, like, make this the strongest skill by accident. Player ignite now. Why are you Pepe laughing? Did they nerf it? Player Ignite inherently deals 150% more damage. Previously 50% of base damage. Now 120. Wow. Cold damage over time skills now deal more damage. Creeping Frost. Endgame 2.2k from 1.4. Wintertide Brand 261 from 161. So just huge buffs across on everything. Cold Snap 1894 instead of 1193. 2454. Wow. It's like, I wonder what elemental overloads can do after this. Recommend skipping the EEO change at start. Oh, read EEO first. Okay. Where are they then? Oh, okay. The elemental overload Keystone passives now gives more hit and ailment elemental damage if they crit in the last 8 seconds. This means you can't use the second rapidly hitting skill, making a small amount of critical strike chance much more important. Wait, this is huge still. But how much is the damage nerfed with? Is it still 40? Is it still 40? I'm... Hi, Zizaran here. My league starter is Chieftain Armageddon brand. It's a really, really strong build for being extremely tanky with insane amounts of regen and one-hitting everything in the game. Fuck cold skills, by the way. Wow, dude. The Elemental Equilibrium Keystone passive now applies 25% exposure of the element not hit with. Removing exposure of the elements you hit with is now an easy way to apply a strong exposure effect rather than a huge damage boost that we balance elemental damage time. Okay, well, they need a lot to make up for this. Wow. 25% exposure? And exposures don't stack. Like, what? What? Wow. Like, we have so many other sources of exposure. We will be looking at pure elemental minions to determine what changes are needed here. Move the elemental equilibrium keystone to the ranger, where there is much less existing access to exposure. Ah? Okay. Okay, can I go back up and read the rest now? Laughs in Raider. But... okay, sweet. I mean, depending what they did to Armor Brand, like, without reading more, it seems like it's gonna be, like, literally the most busted thing ever. Cold Skill seems really rough. Like, even on, like, Vortex and having it on mouse button 1, it's gonna be pretty hard to trigger. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. DoT still might be insane, though. I need to look at the numbers. But still, it still sounds pretty good. If it's 40%, even if it's not up all the time. Oh, specifically ailment. You're right. It won't even work. It won't even work. But still, like, the damage is getting buffed. What's Vortex now? How much is this the damage buff by? I don't know. Vortex still might be good. Like 60%? Should have been doubled. Not enough. Flameburst could return. Oh yeah, yeah, Fireburst. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Need to see the numbers. I think it's very easy to panic. I think it's very easy to panic. Not that it's not warranted. Fire seems like it's gonna be way better though. Anyway. How will Fireburst even work? This is not. It's okay, let's look at the fire skills. Searing Bun deals 3,800 instead of 2,400. And Searing Bun can never trigger EO, right? So... and here the damage is basically bubbled. I'm surprised... doubled? Not bubbled. Scorching Ray, 700 to 439. Righteous Fire... 2.5k instead of 1.5, but deals 35% of life in ES instead of 20. Please buff Inquisitor just a little tad. I will fucking league start Righteous Fire Inquisitor, dude. True, EO is such a big, like, or EE is so painful. I completely, like, dude, the EE, I don't like the EE. The EE nerf is insane. I've done EO on some Righteous Fire builds. Before. Be interesting, but there's still 35% life scaling is huge. Yeah, now I can't get it at all, and EE was like... honestly, EE was removed. How do you proc EO on RF? You can't now, you could before. That's what I'm saying. So it's losing both. Yeah, I don't know. Wow. Valwretch's Fire is buffed. Fire Trap, 2.9k from 1.8. Flame Wall, 2.2 from 1.5. Infernal Legion, 2.1 from 1.3k. Many skills that had an Ignite multiplier. Wait, is there nothing to Armor Brand? Many skills that had an Ignite multiplier have had the multiplier removed. The skills being balanced to compensate for this if necessary, and certain skills have been rebalanced due to the base Ignite damage, taking into account whether they're able to take full advantage of Elemental Overload now. And note that examples below did not include the effect of Elemental Overload or EE, hence why the Ignite value is so much higher. Yeah, Armor Brand gets EO, so Armor Brand sounds like busted. Unless it gets nerfed loads. I mean, it needs to get nerfed loads or it's the strongest skill in the game, right? So they need to nerf it pretty significantly. And even if they do, it still could be extremely strong. Fireball no longer has 88% more damage with ignites. It's 25% chance to ignite at all gem levels. Ignite with skill is 33% higher. Ball Fireball is 88%. Same. Discharge, 55% less damage with elements, previously 30. Because of the ignite damage changes. 60% more damage. I really didn't like it. I didn't enjoy playing Chieftain Ignite Discharge. The thing is, you feel so like, especially in maps with porcupines, when you're discharging him all your endurance charges, it just feels awful. That was like really, really bad feeling. Well, Flame Blast 70. Oh, I really want Flame Blast to work. Sorry, Flame Blast is basically 75% higher at 10 stages. I would love to play Pizza, dude. I would love to play Pizza. I really want to play Flame Blast. Flame Blast Totems or just Flame Blast Self-Cast. Incinerate now as a final wave. Wait, so like you literally cannot use Totem Elemental Overload anymore, right? Incinerate now as final wave deals 250% more damage instead of 500. Guess the base is 45% higher. It received a harsher damage loss because it still works very well with Elemental Overload. Does it? Wait. Am I the only one that like it just Incinerate just feels it? I guess it does hit. I don't know why, but in my head it wasn't a hit. But I guess it. I mean, obviously it is, but yeah, it does hit. Why does it not hit in my head? It used to not hit, right? I guess I haven't used it in like 6 years. Does you hit your head as a kid? That too. It always hit. Why does it not feel like a hit? Because you think of it like Scorching Ray, but it pulses waves. It just feels like not a hit. Hi, OG Gitsu. I don't know. In my head, it feels like not a hit. It's hard to wrap my head around. Cool. I would love, dude. Incinerate, Apex, or sorry, Azeri builds were so cool. Quality on Anomalous Firestorm. No longer runs minus base duration. It does, or first impact does more damage. It now grants 10% chance to ignite. Hey, this is awful. This is a bad change. Fireburst. Granted by level 20 Fireburst now deals 67% more damage. And has a 1-second cooldown. Okay, Fireburst League. I'm doing Fireburst this league because I didn't get a chance to do it. Definitely want to do Fireburst. But like, it's such a problem to get a really tanky Fireburst character. I wonder what happens with Elementalist. Maybe I could do a Chieftain one. But like, even like watching Dan play it in the league where it was super strong, they only like, it had so much strength from chill and high HP and damage, but it was very squishy still. Killed things very fast though. Hex Blast Ignite damage is 95% higher at 30 Doom and 83% higher at 40 Doom. I don't know, from everything I've seen about Hex Blast, it's never been a damage problem. It's always just been like, wow, this is awful to play. Doom Blast. 44% higher at 30 Doom and 32% higher at 40 Doom. Divine Ire. Beam deals 30% more damage. 7.1% higher at 20 stages. It received a harsher damage loss because it still works very well with Elemental Overload and was already one of the highest named Ignite skills. Okay. Explosive Concoction. No longer deals 49% more damage with Ignite. It now has 40 to 78 damage over time multiplier. 155% higher. If you had 50% damage over time multiplier. Interesting. Armageddon Run now deals 40 to 69 damage. Let's see. 613 to 920 at level 20. It no longer has 250% more damage with Ignite or 25% chance to Ignite. It now activates every 1 second while attached, previously 0.75 seconds, and has a critical strike chance of 5, previously 6. It has deal 10% more damage, more hit damage to a branded enemy at gem level 1, which heals up to 29%. Because of the basic Ignite changes, Ignite heal is now 10% higher. It received a harsher damage loss because it still works very well with Elemental Overload. That seems fine. It should still be very strong then. I thought they'd hit it harder. Yeah, the brand activation timer I wasn't expecting though. That seems pretty fair. You missed a skill? Oh, Penance Brand? 54% higher? I don't know. Armageddon Brand still seems really good. Because it still gets to use Elemental Overload. And it's 40%. I mean, you can find Ignite other places. You weren't using EE for Armageddon Run at all. It hits too often. Basic crit? Well, you don't really use crit on it anyway. That would just be for Elemental Overload. And just getting like 200% spell crit and then your EO is up all the time. Maybe 300. Seems bad. I don't know. Well, I want like full numbers, but still like Armor Brand still seems very strong. We'll see. We'll see with the numbers, right? Like we'll be able to experiment and see. Shattering Steel now has projectiles deal up to 100% more damage with hits per steel shard consumed, lowering this bonus as they travel further away. Previously hits and ailments. Because basic night damage changes is now 16.7% lower. The skill is not intended to work well with ignites. So it doesn't justify having its own unique multiplier stat. Right, okay. Explosive Arrow. Explosions deal 5% more damage, previously hits and ailments. Because of Ignite, Ignite with the skill is now 66.7 higher with 10 arrows. 25% higher with 20 arrows. Huh. Sentinels of Purity. 40% less life. Because of basic Ignite damage changes, Ignite with the skill is 50% higher when using the Death Wish. Huh. 50% higher, wow. To be fair, they were kind of crazy. I almost made a build with that. Frostbomb. Less damage. And it no longer has 25% reduced energy shield recharge rate. It now has 4% more damage with hits for 0.1 duration. Because of basic ignite changes, it ignites with the skill is now 74% higher when it is able to ignite. Huh. And then that we've already read. More scaling options have been added to damage over time builds on the passive tree and items, raising the top end of damage over time for well-geared characters. Huh. There's some interesting changes. There are 5 tiers of global damage over time multiplier suffix that will roll on all weapons, going up to 26 and 100s and 45 on 200s. DoT multi on amulets is part of the base pool, going up to 26. Influence modifiers on rings that had a chance to ignite have been changed. They no longer provide a chance to apply an ailment, provide a lot more damage instead. Fire rolls up to 54. on the top end, cold 48, and shocked 86 on lightning. Essence of Delirium no longer rolls hexes. You inflict a plus max doom or 10% damage over time multiplier on amulets. Instead, rolls 15 damage over time multiplier on rings, and hexes you have inflict maximum doom on amulets. Huh. Interesting. Fire, cold, physical, and chaos damage over time multiplier modifiers on jewels now have values 6 to 8, previously 3 to 4. There's a new global damage over time multiplier that can roll on jewels, 4 to 6. DoTs are going to be very strong. All jewels can now roll a faster damage of ailments prefix modifier with a value of 4 to 6. ED League? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Oh, definitely. 100%. I have to tweet that. I have to tweet about ED Contagion. I have to. There's a 0. I can't not. I actually might make it my league starter. Chance to ignite on weapons of multiple tiers with your chances 10, 15, 20, 20, up to 30 for staves. Damage over time on gloves and amulets can do 16 to 20, so 4% buff. Faster ignite poison bleed on influence boost go up to 12, so 2%. Ember Wake added a bit too much damage and crowded out any other options you could use with an ignite build, and the downside has gotten weaker over time. It no longer has the ignited enemies burn 50 to 65% slower and has 40% less burning damage. Wow, Jesus, okay. Ember Wake was being used. Burning arrow is too complex for a level 1 skill. Redesign the skill without a secondary stacking burning effect, but with high added fire damage. Okay. That seems fine. It's a starter gem, so sure. $201 to 302 fire damage to level 20. 30% more fire damage. Attack speed of 90 instead of 100, and 25% chance to ignite instead of 50. Okay. Ignite builds don't have a way to focus their damage on bosses, forcing balancing to be the same for clear and boss damage. Change Flame Surge. I love Flame Surge. I actually think it's such an underrated and underused skill. To be able to deal much more burning damage to a targeted enemy. Flame Surge is getting a new burning ground mechanic that deals damage based on ignites on the target. Very cool. Very cool with 6 linked helmets. Oh, I'm excited. We want to stress that the above list and posts aren't final, etc. Wow. Okay. Well, Jesus. DoT League? I mean, we need to see the numbers, and I'm not particularly good with numbers without like help, like Path of Building and stuff. But we're gonna crack out some numbers, and look at things. But very interesting, very interesting. Flame Surge would be it's not for clearing. What they say here is that Flame Surge, you would be igniting something and then consuming the ignites basically. Deals damage based on the ignites on the target. Well, not consuming them, but like, yeah, very interesting. Cool. Should be pretty fun. That sounds pretty great. Most of these changes are really great. I'm gonna make like a TLDR. This was the raw one, so yeah, we'll make like a TLDR and explain things easily, and very cool though overall. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching the raw upload. Thanks for watching. More importantly, subscribe to the channel, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.